All right. We talked before about Duncan Robinson, and, Greg, you had some reporting that Duncan was seriously considered for an Olympic spot that ended up going to Kevin Love, we believe. And that essentially was more his decision not to go. That was our understanding because of pending free agency, et cetera. But now Bradley Beal, and I feel bad for him because Bradley Beal was finally going to play for a team that had a chance to do something. Bradley Beal is not going to the Olympics because of COVID issues. Jeremy Grant is not with the team right now either, so we don't know what's going to happen with that one. They are supposed to get Devin Booker, Drew Holiday, and Middleton back, but after what maybe a 7-game series, I don't know how productive those three guys are going to be. It seems in some ways they were a little. Jerry Colangelo gets all this credit for piecing together an Olympic team, when to me it's just picking guys out of a hat. But it seems to me like they were a little unprepared for some of this stuff. I saw Trae Young posted the Isaiah Thomas clip from Michael Jordan's Last Dance saying, I met the criteria, which means Trae Young knows it's not him. And you can make a case for Trae Young in this kind of scenario.
He should probably be there.
Right. I mean, he's kind of the closest facsimile to Curry for this type of thing. And they need a ball handler playmaker. But they also probably need a knockdown shooter. And Duncan Robinson, who knows his role, and Duncan Robinson is that. What is the latest we're hearing? Is this smart for him before free agency? He could have not just going to get hurt. He could have a terrible tournament. Right? I mean,
there's a lot of stuff at play. There's layers to it, and I want to credit the right person, but his name is escaping me. I think it could be Jake Fisher. I hope that I'm not wrong in that said that they're seriously considering Duncan Robinson as a replacement option. And so that just was in line with what we had heard about him being a potential option when they were closing up the roster. And when I checked in on it immediately upon kind of hearing that news today, what I was told was if we see Duncan Robinson commit to to go and play, that there's a high likelihood that he has a good idea of where he's going to be and at what number they're going to negotiate. And so there'll be a tell there at least a little bit, because if that stuff is not buttoned up, I don't expect him to accept an invite and go.
Yeah. And I mean, does it make sense? Should he go, Alex?
Yeah. Why not? I think he would fit a role there. Obviously he's the one kind of like knockdown shooter that they would have. And I think, seeing the Bam and Duncan dribble handoff on an international level would be awesome. That wasn't something I was expecting to see watching the Olympics. So that would be pretty funny. I know Spo would be like, my masterpiece is over here for the world to watch, but I think Duncan is a perfect fit for what they're doing there. Like, they have just a whole lot of on-ball creators. And although they've had some weird chemistry so far throughout these first few exhibition games, I think having a guy like Duncan would easily grease the wheels for them and just kind of make it easier when he's out there on the floor.
And again, Duncan is a guy who he
might shoot 70% from three in the Olympics.
He might be. I mean, look, he'll get good looks. I mean, there's no question about that with some of these guys, again, creating. But this team, and we're going to talk more about the team as again in the Olympics, this team has holes. I mean, this is not a perfectly constructed team. They've kind of left Bam out on an island as a big. They don't really have true point guards. I mean, Dame is the closest thing. Drew, is not really that. He'll help in that capacity. I think what's fascinating is, and I think maybe you mentioned this, Greg, on Twitter, that just how few American centers there are these days, right? I mean, and Bam could have played for Nigeria too. So, I mean, but you got Karl Anthony Towns, Joel Embiid, Jokic. I mean, that's that Gobert and Bam, those five centers. I mean,
Bam is North Carolina though. I think like he reps that to the fullest, but
he reps that. I get it. But the other four are all international. There really wasn't a lot to choose from. It's not that the big is dead in the NBA. The American big is gone. Like, it doesn't.
Because kids coming up in America, they want to shoot threes and they want to dribble the ball. And like, so they try to get up out of the big man skill set quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess. But, the reality is a lot of the best bigs in history had foreign. I mean, Olajuwon, Ewing, Ewing's Jamaican. Tim Duncan from the U.S. Virgin Islands. If his pool was not destroyed, we may never hear who Greg Popovich is, right? Because his pool being destroyed is what turned Duncan to basketball. I guess let's go here real quick. We haven't talked about this a whole lot. Again, check out prizepicks.com, use the code 5, go to cpt-florida.com for all your IT. But we haven't discussed this a whole bunch, but just real quick here. Do you guys expect the U.S. to win the gold?
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah,
I really do. I think that they're going to figure it out. I think that they are going to realize that there's going to be that like somebody's going to rise up and the pecking order will be figured out. And that was the thing that missed. Like, if you're going to play a style where you have no chemistry, you at least need to have a pecking order where, like, this is the dude we're going to. And KD has been that for the most part, but I think they just need to establish it with different lineups and combinations. I'm not worried yet. I know that it's been ugly to watch and there's a lot to poke holes in, but I'm not really worried. And before I get my last word, and I just want to tie a bow on our very first conversation, look out for the Heat going to Oladipo and saying, wherever you do find a deal, when you do find it, come back to us and we will discuss a sign and trade target and see if there's a guy on that roster on the team that you want to go to that we can swap. Anyway,
Dallas.
Yeah.
Over to Alex.
Over to Alex. Final thing, just a tease here. You mentioned this to us on a string today, Greg. Dallas is bringing in, a Slovenian assistant to please Luka.
Yep.
If Goran's traded, he's getting bought out and he's going to play for the Mavericks. I think it's pretty clear at this point. I don't think he's going to be traded to the Mavericks, but I think if he's traded somewhere else, he's going to end up on the Mavericks.
Dragic for Tim Hardaway Jr. sign and trade.
I don't know. We'll see how Jimmy feels about that. All right. Greg Sylvander, Tropical Blanket, Ethan J. Skolnick, 5 Reasons Sports. MyBookie.ag. Use the code 5 if you want to gamble. PrizePicks.com. Use the code 5, FIVE, if you want to play daily fantasy, and CPT-Florida.com.